Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, brought to you by Daryl May of RE/MAX Partners. Buying or selling a home in Baton Rouge, you can reach out to Daryl May of RE/MAX Partners. Kick off Hour 2 on Tuesdays with our guy Colin Jeter, former LSU tight end, and now with the LSU Alumni Association. How are you, sir?
Oh, we're doing good. Tigers beat the bye week. We're 1-0 this week, so we're back. We're back on track.
We'll take any win we can get at this point in South Louisiana. There just aren't a lot of them going around. So if you're going to give us one on the bye week for the Tiger Bowl, we'll take it.
That's right.
For sure.
We'll take what we can get.
Frank Wilson, interim head coach. I know you spent some time around Frank. How do you feel that's gonna play for this team?
Look, Frank's the man. I love Frank Wilson. Obviously, like you said, he was there when I was there. He was one of those coaches on the staff that everybody just seemed to really love and rally around. I'd say him, Ensminger, Tommy Moffitt, all those kind of guys, kind of that same crew. But Frank's great. Obviously, he's got head coach experience. He knows how to get the guys motivated. The running backs have always loved him. Now he kind of gets in front of the whole team. I'm excited. He's going to have that team fired up for the game this weekend. I'm looking forward to what he can do.
You've played in LSU Bama games. You know what those two uniforms on a field can kind of conjure up. I know there's no more Les Miles. There's no more Nick Saban. LSU's not chasing a championship. The SEC West isn't on the line. But what does it mean to you when these two teams get together?
It's just a gladiator match. You know,
Yeah.
it's the game, I think, no matter what the record is of both teams, even though most of the time they're both pretty strong, people look forward to turning that game on. It's just two strong brands, two powerhouses really of the 2000s on. I don't know. I think it's always a grudge match. I think it's a game that no matter what the records are, two teams go in and go at it. And, I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do in Tuscaloosa.
I read a little story on LouisianaSports.net. It's kind of an aside here. In the game that was played in 2011 between these two teams, it was two games, 2011, 2012, but there were 20. There were 20 first and second round picks on the field. If you go back for the University of Texas, from now to 2009, you get 20 of those. So that was one game. You're talking about 16 years of Texas football to produce that. I mean, the amount of talent that these two teams have produced, it was, to me, a rivalry that kind of defined the first quarter century here, the first 25 years. We're in 2025, and you were a part of it. It's a special deal, even if LSU hadn't kept up their end of the bargain this year. There's still going to be a ton of talent on that field. Let's talk about LSU running the ball. You love the run game. You were in a really good run game. What would you like to see from LSU on Saturday?
Let's see a little power out there, man.
Okay.
A little power, a little counter. Let's just line up. You know, obviously we've kind of been a shotgun system all year. Maybe let's get under center here and there. Let's throw them something different they're not really expecting. Bring extra tight ends in the game if you need to, kind of move guys around. You know, a tight end could do a lot, whether that's on the line, in the fullback position. You can kind of create a lot off of that. So I'd like to see us mix it up. And I think Frank's going to bring kind of that bulldog mentality to the offense and get the run game going. Obviously, being a running back coach, you would think we've kind of got more emphasis on that this week. So, yeah, I'd like to see us mix it up. Maybe I know we're a spread-out team, but let's get in some different formations. Let's get in some different personnel groups. Let's throw Alabama maybe wrinkles they're not expecting.
I've got 3 data points here. 1, Frank Wilson said in his introductory press conference, we're going to run the ball with a smile on his face. 2, he's the head coach who's been dealing with running backs. He's the running back coach. He's now the head coach. 3, your offensive coordinator now has an offensive line background. I can't think of 3 stronger data points that would suggest, hey, they're about to run the ball a lot more. And as we talked about last week, there are only, I think, 13 teams in the FBS that have run the ball less frequently than LSU. I think that's going to change.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those things we've talked about all year. You can't be one-dimensional. Let's find ways to get it done. Outside of the regular, getting in the gun, hand and zone, maybe duo. Let's mix in some power, like I said, maybe getting some formations where they're not really expecting it. You can get more downhill runs. I'm with you. I think Frank's going to throw some wrinkles out for everybody. I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised with what the offense throws out there.
The issue is you may be compromised on the offensive line. We know that Tyree Adams is not going to play. Your starting left tackle, Carius Curran, filled in for him last week. Now he's got an issue that he hurt his knee at the end of the game there. So could be DJ Chester playing left tackle with Weston Davis on the right. They may switch Weston Davis over to left, but Does that change the way you think about this when you consider the personnel up front?
I mean, that's all you got, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. Look, you're still, I don't care if you're first string, third string, walk on, water guard. I mean, whatever you want to be. You still wear the purple and gold. You've got the 3 letters on the side of your helmet. Show up and prove why you were brought into this team, why you're here at the university, why you're in the SEC. Let's get out there and push some guys around. That's what you were brought in for. Let's get it done. So regardless, like I said, I don't care what title you had when the season started, when last week started. It doesn't matter to me. To me, it's about proving what you're worth, finishing the year strong, and even if you've got more years coming, let's develop for the years coming on beyond that. And again, I just think when you rock the purple and gold out there, you got to bring some physicality, and I think that's the end goal for the game.
Defense has got to do that too. Now, Bama has been a, dare I say, finesse offense to this point. They are in the top 20 in just about every passing statistic, and they're down in the hundreds in the running game. It's kind of similar to what LSU has been offensively, but Bama's just been far more consistent. They're better on third downs. They're way better in the red zone. So how do you feel like LSU's defense matches up against Ty Simpson and a team that has thrown it really well this year?
Yeah, look, obviously the past few games we've kind of struggled against the offenses that are a little bit more dynamic. Quarterback can provide a little bit of a run game. I think Ty Simpson kind of brings some of that as well. Maybe not as dynamic as a guy like Marcel Reed, but we're going to have to be sound. I think the spy is going to be less of an issue. You're going to be able to drop more into coverage and defend those Bama receivers who can roll, as we know. But we're going to have to. I mean, we're going to have to limit Bama to points. Obviously, they're going to score. They're going to get their licks. But if we can hold them, create turnovers, really prove on the back end that with the guys we have between our safeties and our corners, I think we got some of the best in the country. If they can hold on the back end, I think we'll be fine. We'll be in the game, and we'll just continue and see if we can get that offense going to stay in it.
I want to ask you about playing in Tuscaloosa because I get mixed reviews on that from fans and from players that have played. So what's your memory of being in Bryant-Denny and kind of what the environment's like there?
They got the most annoying elephant sound.
They do play the elephant sound a lot
in America. And it's one of those stadiums. It's loud. Don't get me wrong. Of course, always people always say, the Bama fans are spoiled. They're kind of not as into the game as everyone else. I will say it does not compare to Death Valley. But it's loud. Look, it's the SEC. Every stadium's loud you go into. It's going to be hard to get signals in. It's just one of those deals. I think wherever you play in the conference, you're going to get a good rowdy crowd. But yeah, I don't think it really compares to Death Valley, but it is obviously another level. They're going to be riled up, and they're going to try to put the dagger in us. And I think we got to do what we can to get the game going early enough where we kind of shut the crowd out of it.
What stadiums did stand out in your time playing the SEC? I'm curious.
Man, one of the most underrated stadiums, and maybe it's not underrated because they always have crazy games there, is Auburn. I thought
sure.
Auburn.
I'm with you on that.
We played there in 2014, and it was the same game that Katy Perry came out and said we smelled like corn dogs in Baton Rouge. So they were throwing corn dogs at us during the game. The game got out of hand early. It was 41-7. They were just as loud at the end of the game as they were to start the game.
So the Brandon Harris game when he started.
Yeah, so it was the B. Harris game, and then in 16 we went back, and that was a game, of course, we lost on the last second throw. That was Les's last game, but Auburn to me was always one of the more impressive stadiums.
It is. I would agree with that. I say this all the time. I think I've seen all the SEC teams like stadiums at about their best. I saw Auburn with Cam. I saw the Swamp with Tebow. I saw Ole Miss when they were really good. Mississippi State. But I've seen a lot of good ones. But I kind of meekly come to the defense of Bryant-Denny. I was there in 2011. It was keyed up. I mean, it was crazy in there. But Auburn, absolutely. I've seen that place. So on Springs Wells there in 08. Yeah, that was wild. 06 was wild too. So yeah, I'm with you on that. How do you think it goes on Saturday for our guys?
Well, look, I'm a Tiger through and through. Let's go. Let's say the offense gets the run game going. We kind of limit the possessions.
That's a good point, Learn that. What's the roadmap? Like, how do they? LSU's not as good as Alabama this year to me. Like, Bama's playing great football. Their quarterback's on fire, and LSU's is reeling. What is the way that they can win the game? Run the ball and slow the game down. Pull a Vanderbilt.
Think so. I think you got to limit as many possessions as you can during the game. With us kind of having offensive struggles, we just have to be efficient, getting first downs, rolling clock. I think that's our recipe to win the game, and that has to take running the ball. So we have to get that done. If we get that done, I can see the game being, I don't know, let's go, let's say 28-27, something like that.
It would be wild if they could get that done, and it would not be unprecedented this year in college football. We've seen UCLA get hot after they fired their coach. We saw UAB pull an upset if they fired their coach. Arkansas has played very well since firing their coach. We saw Florida give Georgia all they wanted on Saturday. So it's been happening around college football. We'll see if LSU's got it in them. Y'all headed to T-Town, a little takeover there?
We are. Actually, there's a Traveling Tigers trip. So, again, I would recommend calling our office at the Alumni Association, getting in contact with Brantley. We got a great Traveling Tigers trip going on, going to take over T-Town. Always fun to travel to Tuscaloosa. Beyond that, alumni, look, we've got our business membership. We're continuing to push. We've got another great event coming November 20th. It's going to be 537. DSLD, one of our gold members, obviously a big program and big home builder in the area, they've partnered with us. So we're going to host an event at one of their show homes and really looking forward to it. Continuing to try to help Tiger businesses excel and expand business. So
that's late November with DSLD?
November 20th. That's correct.
November 20th. Awesome to hear. All right, he's picking the Tigers to win. Either way, we'll talk about it next week with our guy, Colin Jeter. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Colin Jeter, former Tiger tight end, and, of course, with the LSU Alumni Association. All right, we'll come back, talk some LSU offensive line next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Tell you all the time about America's best warranty. How about you purchase that vehicle? You get a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Purchase that vehicle, you get a 5-year, 60,000-mile bumper-to-bumper warranty. The peace of mind you get when you drive off the lot, knowing that you're not going to have to deal with those pesky car issues because it's under warranty, is priceless. Talk about an enhanced 24/7 roadside assistance, so you know no matter what time of day or where you are, they'll help you out roadside. And then, of course, talk about all the time that scheduled maintenance that is complimentary and valet for 3 years. So talking about the oil changes, getting those air filters dealt with, of course, the windshield wipers as well, wiper fluid, all that. Complimentary valet. They come get your car, bring it back to the dealership. They service it, bring it right back to you. You never miss a beat. Go see them, Airline at PQ. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. They're online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Tuesday shows brought to you by Daryl May of Remax Partners. You can reach him at darylmayproperties.com or 268-6915 here in the 225. That's 268-6915. Daryl May of Remax Partners, buying or selling a home here in Baton Rouge. Daryl can help you out. He's got more than 2 decades experience on the building side, so he knows what you should be looking for. Certainly spent his entire life here in the 225, so knows what you're looking for from that perspective from buying and selling as well. So check him out. They're Remax Partners. Daryl May bringing you our Tuesday shows here on the Hunt Palmer Show. I want to start talking a little bit about LSU's offensive line and what they're going to attempt to get accomplished against Alabama with the personnel that they have. You know that you're not going to have your left tackle. Tyree Adams is out. So what are you going to do at left tackle? I thought Carius Kern was a good solution. I was excited when they made that move to him for the game against Texas A&M. Of course, you saw, early in that game, Cassius Howell comes off the edge and gets that big sack, and you're like, I don't know if he can pass protect. But they did run the football, especially to the left, behind Carius Kern and Cohen Eccles pretty well early in that game, and they got into a situation where they had to throw it late in the second half, and just didn't go very well. But you're talking about an Alabama defense that has been a little bit susceptible to the run. They're 95th in the country in yards per carry allowed. That's 4.5 yards per carry. They're better in terms of their passing defense. They're 12th in the country there in passing defense. They're 13th in the country in passing touchdowns allowed. They don't allow a lot of big plays. They're 4th in the country in 20-plus yard passes allowed. They're susceptible on the ground. You saw Vanderbilt was able to run it against them a little bit on the ground. You saw certainly Florida State was really able to make some hay against Alabama on the ground. LSU doesn't have the mobile quarterback those guys have, but you do have dynamic running backs that you've got to get behind and run. And let's see what they're going to do at left tackle. I think DJ Chester is probably going to be the answer. I didn't like Frank Wilson's tone yesterday when he mentioned that Kern was going to be questionable. Now, I don't have a lot of experience in Frank Wilson dealing with the media to be able to decipher things the way that I might with other coaches that I've covered for a little bit longer, and maybe Kern's going to be okay. We'll see when that availability report comes out on Wednesday. But more often than not, guys that have been probable have gone, and then when you start to get into questionable and certainly doubtful, you've had guys miss time. And with him saying that Curran's going to be questionable. I don't feel great about that on Monday. So I think it's going to be DJ Chester. I don't think they're going to move Weston Davis over to left tackle. We talked to Glenn West about that in the first hour. That just seems like a very, very poor idea. And this is a Brian Kelly quote. Brian Kelly said they're not going to move Josh Thompson out to tackle. He was pretty adamant about that, which to me suggests they at least had those conversations. Thompson did play right tackle at Northwestern in 2023. He moved inside to right guard at 2024, and he's played right guard for you here in 2025. It's just it's a disappointing situation LSU finds itself in where you don't necessarily have a tackle that you can trust. I realize that Adams got hurt, and I realize that Curran is now hurt, and that's obviously going to put anybody behind the 8 ball. But here's the deal that I say this all the time. And it's not the football guy in me. I just don't have that gear like my guy BT has, Brandon Taylor on the pre- and post-game show, like certainly Hester and Flynn do on the morning show. And those guys have football like in their blood. I'm just analyzing this from the outside. You can say next man up all you want, and it is literally correct. The next man up's got to go play. There's a reason he's the next man up and not the man. And I just feel like you've got an offensive line that's going to go into this situation compromised. If LSU could play Tyree Adams at left tackle and Carius Curran at right tackle in this game, I would feel better about the offense significantly. The fact that you probably have neither of them makes me feel significantly worse about the offense. I think it limits your ability to run the ball. I think it limits your quarterback's confidence. I think it limits the play calls that you can make because you can't get the ball down the field because you don't feel like you have enough time to call those plays. So they're going to have to do some things a little bit differently. And that, to me, is why I think you may see some of your backup quarterback, Michael Van Buren, in the game. You might see some direct snaps at Juwan Johnson. You might see some things to try to give LSU a numbers advantage because you don't have a talent advantage. You got to win one of them. You either got to win the war up front or you got to outnumber them up front. And to me, like, because Michael Van Buren can throw the ball a little bit, because Juwan Johnson gives you another gear, you might need to help this offensive line and do that. I don't know if the answer is to bring Donovan Green in on one side and bring Bauer Sharp in on the other side and plant them next to those tackles and play with 2 tight ends all day. Like I don't think that's your answer. You still want to spread the field, but when you spread the field and you do so with an offensive line that you don't feel like can keep Alabama from getting pressure and blowing up your offense, like that's tough. Bama's not been a great pass rush. They're 82nd in the country in sacks. They haven't been a terror up front. They're 69th in the country in tackles for loss at just 5.5 per game. This is not one of those Saban defenses with Quinnen Williams. And I mean, I could go the names on and on and on and on. You know, the guys that were just impossible to block with Jonathan Allen and Marcel Darius. And I mean, it was a different guy year over year over year with Tim Williams and Will Anderson. And like, you know, Dallas Turner, like they don't have that. This is not that. But does LSU have the guys up front to go ahead and take it to Alabama? I don't know. I mean, look, Florida State's no world beater. Vanderbilt doesn't do it traditionally. They move their offensive line here and there. But I feel like I would be fairly convicted in what I saw from LSU's running game against Texas A&M 2 weeks ago. Like that first half was really eye-opening. Like they really did run the ball. Barry looked comfortable and confident and patient, and Durham broke off that big run. And I that offense that I saw, that group that I saw, I think could run it on Alabama. I really do. When you take now you're probably your 2 best tackles off the field, I don't know if I feel as good about it. Maybe LSU can win in the interior. You still have Eccles. You still have Moore. You still have Thompson. And maybe you get into, like Colin was talking about in the last segment, you get into some power and maybe the side you run to, you help with the tight end there, and you try to win between the tackles, try to win in that A gap, try to win in that B gap. Maybe you get Jack Pyburn back there at fullback and try some of that you saw. You've had a bye week and a new coaching staff to put a fresh look on this. You've got time to do some things that are some wrinkles in the running game. But I don't know if it's enough. I don't know if you can overcome the losses that you've got based on where you were personnel-wise to start. You are the worst running team in the SEC again. You were the worst running team in the SEC last year. So for 2 years straight, that's your biggest weakness. And when you look at Bama and you look at what they do well and you look at where they struggle, more importantly, which is stopping the run at times, can you make that hurt? I just don't know. So we'll be looking at what Frank Wilson has to say at the teleconference tomorrow at 10 o'clock. We'll look for his press conference on Thursday. We'll have availability reports from practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we'll have a better look at this on Friday afternoon when we do this segment and start looking at it. But early in the week, just on Tuesday, as I sit here, my confidence level is just not there that these guys can make that hurt. It's not to say that Bama's going to dominate LSU up front and that they can't. I mean, I'm looking for LSU to find an advantage on the field. That's what I'm looking for. I want to find a spot where LSU can win. And I just don't know if I see that at this point, which is a bit of a bummer there. So just looking, continuing to evaluate. If you want to take a look at Alabama and what they do, as far as statistically speaking, which is literally the name of the piece, I've got one every single Monday on LSU's opponents. It's up there for free on LouisianaSports.net right now. And you can see what it's color-coded. Red's what they're not very good at. Green's what they're very good at. Just a lot of numbers. It's not a very difficult read. You just go through and check out the numbers, see what the color code says. But it suggests that Bama plays a little bit more finesse this year. They're way better throwing it than they are running it. They're way better stopping the pass than they are stopping the run. So my immediate inclination is, okay, how do we run it on this, guys? And it involves Harlan Berry, but it might involve a lot more than that. We'll see what LSU is able to do coming up on Saturday. We'll talk a lot more about LSU as we move forward in this week. But for right now, let's shift our attention to the black and gold, to the New Orleans Saints. The NFL trade deadline is 35 minutes away. The Saints have made one move today. Will they make another one? If they do, we'll react to it. But I'll ask Sharief what his thoughts are as the Saints move forward here. We'll do that next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Vaughn and his team, 30-plus years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. You can do something simple like a tub-to-shower conversion. Like in the Palmer house, we're using our bathtubs all the time. We got 2 little ones. About 6:30, it's time to get in the tub. But I know before we had the little ones, the bathtubs never got used. Nobody in our house was taking a bath. If that's your situation and your tub is kind of dingy or it's getting a little bit old, not quite as functional as it once was, or you just, again, don't use it, well, get rid of it. Do a tub-to-shower conversion. Get rid of that old tub, put in a gorgeous new glass walk-in shower, use that space to add value to your home and make your bathroom a more comfortable spot. David Vaughn is happy to do it. He'll have the conversation with you. You get that free consultation. That part didn't cost you a penalty. And if you decide to go through with things, they've got financing options available, 0% up to 18 months if you qualify at One Bath and Closets. You can get that consultation at OneBathAndClosets.com. It's David Vaughn, One Bath and Closets.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Tuesday show is brought to you by Daryl May of RE/MAX Partners. Contact Daryl May if you're looking to buy or sell a home here in Baton Rouge. Daryl May of RE/MAX Partners bringing you our Tuesday shows. Sharief, Ishaq, part of those Tuesday shows, joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Sharief, how are we doing?
Oh, I'm doing just like I do every Tuesday, feeling winless.
Winless, yeah. I mean, the Saints technically have a win. Pels, not so much. But they're trying to make moves on both sides of the aisle here. Let's talk Saints first. We'll get to the team, but let's do trade deadline. Rashid Shaheed on the way out. Your initial thoughts as they recoup a 4th and a 5th for him?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit better than I thought they were going to get. I see that they were asking for a 3rd, and they already got a 3rd, like a 5th or 6th. That would have been an absolute steal for the Saints. But a 4th and a 5th, helps. They go from 5 picks to 7 picks. Got about 30 minutes left before the deadline is up. So I was hoping that they would do a little bit more, kind of like what the Jets are doing, being smart and loading up on picks. But it just doesn't seem like the Saints are going to make any more moves at this point.
Is there a player or two that you have your eye on to move? I mean, the Jets have some young assets that have made Pro Bowls. The Saints aren't exactly flush with those.
No, I mean, the only guys I would I'd throw out there like realistic would be Alave, Alontae Taylor, Pete Werner and Cesar Ruiz. The two of those guys are due for contracts in Olave and Alontae Taylor. I think that I would try to move them at any cost, not like a terrible cost, but the team needs picks, Hunt.
Yes.
They need to reload, get some younger players. I know those guys are young, but those are young assets on rookie deals. So you make the moves, even if it's just, a third and a sixth or a third and a fifth for Olave and a fourth-round pick for Alontae Taylor. You make the moves. I don't care. Just do it so you can reload the cupboard and have some more picks for the upcoming NFL draft. But the looks of it, it just doesn't look like it's going to happen.
So you look at the Saints at wide receiver. They move on from Rashid Shaheed. I believe that should theoretically open up some snaps for Devon Vele, who they traded for. And you do have Ja'Kai Polk waiting in the wings, who won't play this year, but you also traded for him. So, do you feel like the Saints have enough at wide receiver moving into the future, or do you feel like Shaheed is gonna hurt them?
Well, Vele, let's just say Olave is not moved and they give him an extension, which I'm going to disagree with an extension for Olave if it's going to be a lot of money. And I just don't think they have enough young receivers there. Yes, you get Jalen Polk next year, but that's just like having Olave. So they need to go get more playmakers, and they're going to be stuck right in the same spot in terms of trying to evaluate this team with a rookie quarterback with no playmakers now, and it doesn't look like future playmakers unless something happens in the draft next year. So, yeah, Hunt, they need to go get a receiver. They need to go get a real tight end that you can count on. They need a running back. They need guys who can block. They got 4 first-rounders on that line and a second-rounder and having issues. So this team desperately needs playmakers and guys who can, block. And it's simple. It's the most fundamental things in football. They're not doing it right now, and they need to figure that out this offseason.
All right, let's talk about what we saw from Tyler Shuck back on Sunday. Your initial thoughts?
Incomplete. I'm going to leave it at that because I'll talk a little bit about it. I just felt like there weren't enough snaps. 40 snaps? He didn't even get 40 of those snaps. What I didn't like was, the Taysom Hill coming in for 2 or 3 plays and then putting him back in and then putting Taysom Hill in on down. If you're truly going to start him and evaluate your 40th overall pick, you let him play.
Yeah.
In the time that I saw, he made some good throws. Now, the one throw he made to Brandon Cooks could have gotten picked off, but his arm strength squeezed it in there. The defender just missed that in double coverage, but he made some good throws. But there were some throws that I didn't like, and there were some throws I did like. So I feel like leaving that game, I'd say I feel okay about his performance. Incomplete and okay. That deep pass to Rashid Shaheed, it looked like he lost it down the sideline. Maybe he finds it and he could speed up a little bit and makes it a play, has a chance to make a catch. But he made some good throws. There's some throws I just didn't like. The interception, I understand it's on 4th down. The pressure was caving in on him. The line and pass protection wasn't that great once again. So, you just hope that he makes leaps against the Carolina Panthers and moving forward because, he's starting the rest of the way minus an injury. So I did hope that he's going to play much better. He went against one of the better defenses in the NFL. So at least that he got a chance to learn on the road against that defense and feel like that he's going to at least make strides in the right direction.
Yeah, look, that's as bad a matchup as you can find, the way the Rams are playing on the road. I realize it's not the toughest environment in the NFL, but that's not a great place to make your first start. Now, as you look forward, I know the Panthers have a pretty good record, but I don't think anybody considers them a Super Bowl threat like the Rams really are. And then you got the bye week and then some winnable games coming up after the bye. Do you feel like that when things lighten up that you could see something good from Shuck here?
Yeah, look, with this team, Hunt, by the way, there's no such thing as a winnable game moving forward.
None?
I'm going to put that. There are no such thing as winnable games. I don't care if it's the Jets, the Titans. I just do not care right now to say any game on the schedule is winnable. But what we want to see is the continued growth and progress from Tyler Shuck. And yes, to answer your question, yes, there are opportunities for Tyler to go into some of these games. I think Carolina has a really good defense, by the way. That's going to be a tough match on the road for him again, the way they play defense. But that's an opportunity to once again be thrown into the fire on the road against a good defense where he can continue to grow and learn and step up in the pocket a little bit more and stand there and deliver some of those balls down the field and intermediate routes. So this is, once again, a great chance for him to continue to learn his position. And learn some of his receivers like Olave and Bailey. So this is like where you see what he has in these final 9 games of the season. So, or 8 games of the season. So I think he's in a good spot to, continue showing Kellen Moore. But here's the thing, Hunt. They got to take the handcuffs off. All right. They did this with Spencer Rattler. They got to take the handcuffs off and just let him cook. Like legitimately, Kellen Moore and Nussmeier, Doug Nussmeier, have to just let him cook. Forget it. The season's over. You're not winning more than 1 or 2 more games. You go out there and see what your young signal caller has. Don't do this. We're going to do these checkdowns. Don't be these conservative play calling. Just go out there and be you. Be Kellen Moore, the innovative guy that they hired you for, and let the quarterback cook with some of these young players and see what you got.
What's the most disappointing aspect of the defense right now?
Tackling. Absolutely, it's tackling. I have not. It feels like every other week we're talking about how this team continues to miss tackles, and it looks sloppy at times. That game against the Rams, it wasn't that Kyron Williams or any Puka Nacua, they weren't making like many moves. It was just simple running by them and like missing tackles. That's the most frustrating thing. Once again, fundamentals. The fundamentals of football. Saints not doing it, man. They got to learn how to tackle better because that was some of the sloppiest tackling I've ever seen.
How do you think the team mentally is going to move through this?
Well, right back in the same spot they were almost a year ago, right? November 4th, exactly a year ago. Dennis Allen was fired, and people were wondering how would they respond. You hope that they respond in a positive way. They have no choice other than to, once again, continue developing, learning, and growing, and making some kind of progress for the future. That's pretty much where they are. There's like wins and losses. And what does it do? Losing for this franchise is probably winning in terms of getting a higher draft pick. But all you want to do is the development. It's in a rebuild stage. They know that. So you just don't want to see your young players quit. You don't want to see them get a bad attitude. You don't want to see that happening, which I don't see happening. I really don't see that happening in the locker room. I feel like the vibes are still good with the players, even though that they're sitting at 1-8, the worst start since 1980.
It's a tough spot for the Saints. They'll continue to chug forward here as the trade deadline rapidly approaches in 20 minutes. To lighten the mood here, let's go across airline highway to the Pels. Hadn't quite gotten it done. I'm a little surprised Willie Green still has a job. Are you?
Yeah, you, me, and everyone who covers the team, I think, is a little surprised. I thought I told you last week if they go 0-6 and get shellacked on the road like they got shellacked, that he wouldn't be the coach come Monday morning. I do not know what happened. I do not know if, like Gail said, we just fired Dennis a year ago, Griffin a year ago. Recently, Derek Carr just retired on us. I just don't know if I can have any more negative publicity. But the problem is here, Hunt, I think it's worse to keep somebody when you're 0-6 and getting beat down like this. When you're 0-6 and just getting crushed, you're looking at it like, yeah, it's a marathon and not a sprint. But, you got to get out of the box. You're not getting out of the box, and it's just terrible.
Why are they getting crushed?
Why are they getting crushed? I think it's coaching. You've got too much talent. I think it's lineups. I think it's, Willie's a super nice guy. He took the questions like a champ yesterday, the heat-seeking missile questions about his job in the hot seat. He knows that, it comes with the business when you're not winning. But I think it's just, man, some of these lineups, what is going on? They're getting punched in the mouth. Sometimes they go into teams, they're allowing these big runs. There's no timeouts. It's like, yeah, it's on the players too to just, do the basic things of making layups. You see a lot of missed layups from the players, which is crazy for me to say, but they're just getting absolutely crushed. And I get these teams are elite that they're losing to, but man, be competitive. If you're not competitive, it's coaching and it's players. So I'm having a lot of problems with coaching and players just being competitive too. So it's little blame. There's a lot of dirty hands in this situation, Hunt, when it comes to the Pelicans. A lot, not just coaching, not just players. Joe Dumars made these decisions, man, with the trading the picks, putting this franchise in a difficult situation too, giving away those picks to the Hawks and Pacers. So a lot of dirty hands right now, and it's I hate to say it, but it's starting to be look a little late, kind of early for them. or how do you say that? Little, yeah, well,
It's getting late early. Is how you would say that, and it's not good in either department there under Benson headquarters, which is another issue altogether. So maybe cover that on a different day. Sharief, we appreciate the time. We'll talk next week.
All right, you got it, Hunt. See you next Tuesday.
Sharief, Ishaq, WDSU down in New Orleans. Saints 1-8, Pels 0-6. It's not good down there in the Big Easy currently. Brought to you by Daryl May of Remax Partners. Tell you can reach Daryl if you're looking to buy or sell a home. Highly recommend you do that. You can find him at darylmayproperties.com. You can also give him a phone call, 225-268-6915. That's 268-6915. Daryl May with Remax Partners brings you our Tuesday shows. We'll come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Starting to get dark a little earlier. Starting to cool down a little bit. Don't have time to go play a round of golf, but you'd like to do so anyway. How about Swing Easy? Go by Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. You can play 18 holes on the simulator in like an hour. You can play Pebble Beach. You can play Spyglass Hill. You can play TPC Sawgrass, TPC Scottsdale. Play Bethpage. You can play TPC Louisiana, where they play the Open down there at in Avondale. You can play them all. Hang out and hit some golf balls with your friends over at Swing Easy Golf Club. Quick, easy, affordable. You can get memberships. You can entertain clients, hang out on the weekends at the night, and socialize. Swing Easy Golf Club, Segan at Perkins. Phenomenal private bays that you've got with comfortable seating, cold beer, glass of wine, seltzer, all at the ready at Swing Easy Golf Club. Check them out online, swingeasygcbr.com, swingeasygcbr.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Got something awesome going over at Court to Table. Got sports trivia every single Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Hosted it at Pluckers for years and years and kind of rekindled things over at Court to Table. Had a great turnout the first 3 weeks. You can come by. Great restaurant, great bar area. They got games on TV. There are screens everywhere. You can win gift cards. Good gift cards, $25 for first place. There are 5 of them up for grabs if you can win a round. I also got free 30-minute sessions on the pickleball courts if you get second place in any of the rounds. So if you're looking for something to do this evening, want to get out of the house, maybe get something to drink, something good to eat, come on by at Court to Table, 8 o'clock, sports trivia. It's right there on Burbank. Incredible facility. If you have not been, you will be really, really impressed and looking forward to getting back there tonight at 8 o'clock. Watched a little college hoops last night. LSU doesn't start till tomorrow. And I watched Arizona and Florida play. Man, it's some high-level stuff. Those are really good basketball teams. Of course, Florida, the defending national champs, which they're retooling the backcourt a little bit. They've still got some of the same faces in the front court with Condon and Chenyalu and those guys. They're big, they're physical, and they looked at last night. But Arizona stared them right between the eyes, got behind, came back and won that game. Jordan, I don't know if you were watching that game on last night. Did you watch it?
I did not watch it. I was watching Monday Night Football.
Are you aware of who Arizona's star was last night as a true freshman?
I seen his highlights. He's kind of like a power forward, kind of brolic.
His name is Koa Pete.
Yeah.
Any idea who his brother might be?
Koa Pete. No way is Andres Pete.
Andres Pete's brother was hooping last night for Arizona, was dunking on dudes, true freshman. Scored 30 on Florida last night.
And
the
Florida,
defending champs.
I'm about to say, Florida's still loaded. I know they still got Condon and whatnot. Obviously, they don't have Walter, but still, they're going to recoup and get back right. You kind of ruined my day with that. Pete's little brother.
Koa Pete was out there just balling.
You know, the worst part about this is I can't even watch college basketball this year because the Pelicans don't have a pick. So it's like, why am I even going to watch any of these young guys and all this?
Shout out Joe Dumars, just ditching that pick. Don't need it. We'll take Derek Queen. It'll be awesome.
Polo Joe.
Not quite awesome at this point, but Florida looked really good last night. Good night in the SEC overall, other than Florida losing to Arizona. The one noteworthy score, and I'm just telling you, like, not going to overreact. It's one basketball game. But Bruce Pearl was on the desk on TBS last night doing halftime and postgame for Arizona and Florida. And Steven, his kid, was coaching Auburn.
Yes.
And they went to overtime with Bethune-Cookman.
Whoa.
So That's not great.
That's bad.
Look, it's one game.
Nah,
you never know.
Don't do that. It's bad.
But Bruce Pearl had that thing humming, and now Stevens going to overtime with Bethune-Cookman in game 1. So that's not great on the Plains at Auburn. Look, here's the deal. This is coming from me, LSU fan. Tigers have been up against it in basketball the last few years. If we can start getting some of these SEC teams to come back down to where they usually are, that's fine with me. So if Auburn wants to take 3 steps down from the Bruce Pearl era, I'm fine. I need one of these teams to hire Nate Oates away from Alabama. I don't know how that's going to happen, but it needs to happen. And then, look, you saw Musselman move on. We'll see what Calipari can do there. Buzz Williams no longer at Texas A&M. We'll see what Bucky can do there. But I need some of these teams to come back down to the pack because I'm tired of trying to punch up at Auburn going to the Final Four and Alabama going to the Final Four when they were bad my whole life. So I'm for Auburn getting significantly worse, and hopefully yesterday was a sign of that happening. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer, just 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. That's what you're looking for in a light beer, but you're also looking for that delicious beer flavor, and it's got it there with Yingling Flight. You're talking about brewed by the oldest brewer in America, still family owned and operated there in Pottsville, PA. Yingling. It's Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer.
All right, let's start it off with your Cubs. Unfortunately, Cubs left-handed starter Shota Imanaga.
Shota Imanaga.
Imanaga is entering free agency, sources told ESPN, after the team rejected an option to extend his contract out to 2028. He likewise rejected a $15 million player option for next season, triggering his ability to become a free agent. Did the Cubs make the right move right here by letting him walk? Take it or leave it?
I'll take it.
Ooh,
look, he had a great year and a half. He had a terrible second half of this year. He's 33 years old. He gives up a lot of home runs. His velocity ticked down a little bit. And the Cubs, if they're not going to spend like the big boys, like the Dodgers, then you're going to have to spend it wisely. And I don't need to sink 3 years into a 33-year-old pitcher who's losing velocity. So I'm good with it. Go get somebody that throws 97 miles an hour with all that cash. If you're going to save it, they saved about $20 million over the next 3 years with it. So I'm good. Go get somebody that throws harder.
All right, so tonight we have the Battle of Mid. The New Orleans Pelicans' last win was March 30th of 2025 against their opponent tonight, the Charlotte Hornets. Can the Pelicans finally get a win tonight? I know, I feel like I've done this like 4 or 5 times already. I know. Just sooner or later, we got to get a win. Is this the night?
I'll take it. Pels get a victory tonight. Big effort from somebody. They're not even hurt. I used to have to like really monitor like who's even available for the Pels tonight. That isn't even the case this time. They got everybody available. Yeah. They just don't beat anybody.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to have to leave it. I'm about to say
your confidence is shaking to its core.
I'm shaking. I'm like, it's like I'm in an abuseful household. Like I'm just like I don't know what to do anymore.
He's jittery. He's nervous.
Jittery. Like
doesn't even want to be here.
I got what do you say? Vomit on my shirt, mom spaghetti. Like I'm just all over the place. I can't do it. I don't even know if I can stomach the second half of this game because the Pelicans games always start in the third quarter. Finally, last but not least, getting dark at 5:30 p.m. Take it or leave it.
Leave it. It stinks. Terrible. My wife likes it, but we had a breakthrough this morning. My wife, she's always about it because she thinks it reminds her of Christmas. She can get on the couch and snuggle because it's dark outside. I'm going, you can do that if it's daylight outside. What's the difference? But she got cranky. She's cranky now because our kids see that daylight and they get out of bed. So that is what she doesn't care about, the 5:30 p.m. It's the 6 o'clock a.m. that she's now cranky about. Obviously, this is a terrible time in the calendar in terms of daylight.
Yes.
I want daylight. I want to be able to do some things outside late in the evening. Yes. Can't do it at this point. It stinks. I hope we get rid of it, but it is where we are right now. But I'm hopeful that we've finally settled that score in the Palmer house where she thinks it's better when it's dark at 5 p.m. Terrible.
That's it for Take It or Leave It.
All right, Take It or Leave It, brought to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. Another reminder, our Tuesday show is brought to you by Daryl May of Remax Partners. You're buying or selling in Baton Rouge, Daryl May can help you out with that. Appreciate him for making our Tuesday shows possible. A lot that we got into today. Started out with Nick Saban, whether or not he's a guy that could end up with the LSU job. Shaq's talking about it. I talked about it. You can find that on YouTube at Hunt on LSU. Rashid Shaheed has been moved. There's 5 minutes left of the deadline, and I don't see another Saints move, so That's not great. Hopefully something comes across the wire in the next 5 minutes. They need draft picks. When I talked about the Shaheed pick, you can find that, the trade, you can find that at Hunt on Saints. Glenn West talking Tigers, Colin Jeter talking Tigers, Sharief Ishaq talking Saints. All of it's on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search The Hunt Palmer Show. Anywhere you find that, you can like, subscribe, rate, and review. Lot to get into tomorrow. LSU tip-off on the hardwood.